What's going on, guys? This is Michael MGF, and today I am pretty excited to finally be kicking off my LEGO Star Wars Summer 2015 set reviews with the Death Star Final Duel. And the set number for this one is 75093. The recommended ages are 8 through 14, and it has a piece count of 724, while the price point is $79.99. And all of the new LEGO Star Wars Summer 2015 sets are currently in Toys R Us stores. They are not going to be officially released until June 1st, so I had one hell of a time getting this set and the Imperial Shuttle Tidarium, and I'm currently having one hell of a time getting the Ant-Man set. So if you want to get this set before that date, it's not exactly going to be what I would call easy, and it's actually quite a pain in the ass, but I do have the set here now, and I'm also thankfully here now to review it. And I apologize for how long it has been since I actually wanted to get this review out on Tuesday, and then the day before, though, my buddy Wally, you guys might have known him as the Almighty Cat of Fatness, as I used to refer to him as in my earlier days on YouTube. He unfortunately, we had to put him to sleep the day before, and I was kind of recovering from that, and air conditioning was actually out up until that day, and then since then, I honestly don't know what has been going on. I've just been trying to like get myself together here after that, those pretty painful, few days without AC, and then my buddy Wally passing away. So it's been a little bit nuts for me over here, but I'm here now to review this set and the Imperial Shuttle Tidarium, along with my Daredevil showcase and a bunch of other cool stuff coming up. So without further ado, man, let's get started. Alright, so right off the bat, starting off with a minifigure that you all want to see, the new Darth Vader redesign for this set, and in a lot of ways this minifigure is definitely revolutionary for the helmet. But before we talk about that, the torso and legs are completely the same as we had them in the Imperial Star Destroyer last year, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't review it, so don't quote me on that, but you can see that the leg printing, which is new for me personally, looks really, really awesome. I absolutely love the new leg printing that Darth Vader minifigures are going to have from this point forward. And then if we go ahead and flip the cape around, as usual for Darth Vader minifigures, there is no back printing, which kind of sucks, I guess. But I mean, he's got a cape. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And so yeah, now the helmet. Finally talking about this helmet. I talked about it in my analysis video, and it's pretty much the same in real life here. You can see that from this angle, from this side, it does kind of look like he's looking up a little bit, like that, that like angle that the helmet is at kind of bothers me a little bit, because I'm so used to having this helmet, which was always just like straightforward as I drop it, of course. But yeah, just to compare the two helmets, you can see there is a pretty significant difference, especially with the front of the helmet. The front on the new helmet is just so much more accurate and captures Darth Vader in such a better way. I mean, granted, this is a classic. We've all loved this helmet for years, but I'm just saying that this is definitely the more accurate route, even though one other thing, it is a little bit big, which is unfortunate. But I mean, if this is the change, I'm definitely open to it, because this is a much needed change for Darth Vader. It's been too long that we've had the original helmet. It's been since like 2002, like almost like only a few years after LEGO Star Wars began, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like this was definitely a much needed update. Yes, there are a couple of small problems, but it's not perfect, but it is definitely a welcome change if you ask me. And it actually splits apart in two pieces. The top half here is, you can see how that comes apart, and it actually has like two pretty big gaps next to the center of it, which was pretty interesting. You can see those right there and there. But now the head is completely new. This is actually different from the Star Destroyer last year. Now it's printed, the design is printed onto a white head, which I definitely think is much better than light gray or tan. I think white is probably more suitable for Darth Vader, even though his skin is more of like a white with like a gray tint to it. You really can't capture that with LEGO's base color palette, but you can see that the eyes have like the tan around them and the wrinkles there, and he's kind of smiling a little bit. And a lot of you argue that's because this is like his redemption face, like after he's already knocked the Emperor into the reactor, not the reactor, the freaking shaft. But I mean, I personally, I would have rather have had a more of a standard expression, but it doesn't really bother me that much. You're gonna put a helmet over anyway. I just kind of wish that the mouth was a little bit different. But aside from that, it's a great design. Same except for the back and everything that's on the back side of the head. And yeah, so just to give you a better look at the actual piece that is beneath like the main section of the helmet, it's pretty awesome how this helmet splits into two different pieces, and it just allows for a much cooler looking Darth Vader and much more accurate to the way he looks with his helmet off when you pull the actual helmet off. So I mean, that's pretty sweet. This entire new helmet design, aside from the two minor things I did point out, is really sweet in its entirety, and I absolutely love how this minifigure looks, aside from the fact that he's always sort of looking like he's looking up. So yeah, Darth Vader, this is a pretty revolutionary minifigure, our first new Darth Vader helmet since practically since LEGO Star Wars began. So this is pretty awesome. Luke isn't nearly as interesting. I mean, honestly, I kind of prefer the design that we had in the Ewok village, or at least the torso. But you can see the minifigure is very simple. There isn't a lot to portray here on, we've all seen this variation of Luke. I'd say this is definitely one of the better variations. Like I said, I personally prefer the torso from the Ewok village, which really isn't terribly different from this one. But you can see that the torso design on the front, super accurate, not much to say about it. We've all pretty much seen it before. And then the back of the torso, same can be said for that, and just a continuation of everything we see on the front. But yeah, so of course he's got the green lightsaber, and then you do have a new face, I believe. I'm pretty sure that Luke has a new face here, if I'm not mistaken, and you can see it is pretty basic, pretty standard, not a really, a lot going on with this minifigure. I mean, it does the job well. It's just, it's not terribly exciting given how many times we've already seen variations of this minifigure already, in pretty recent years. And then this version, this side, he has a smirking face, which was a little bit different. Once again, I guess you can argue that this is sort of like this face and Darth Vader's face is sort of like, I guess, like when Darth Vader is finally, gonna go into the Force, and they're reunited as father and son, and I guess they're kind of happy in that last moment, and this is what that's supposed to portray. But personally, I would have rather have seen a more aggressive facial expression on the side of Luke's head. But you can see he's got the standard dark tan hairpiece we've all seen before. So I mean, it's a great minifigure, it does its job. It's just, it's not that exciting. Next up, we have Darth Sidious, and Emperor Palpatine here is pretty much the exact same minifigure that we had from last year. The torso and legs are the exact same, but the head has some new facial expressions, even though it keeps like the same general design. But you can see he does have the Force lightning pieces, as expected, but definitely pretty nice to have those too. And but just pulling them out of the off the minifigure's hands to get them out of the way, so you can see him here. You can see this is definitely, I mean, as I said, it's already pretty similar to the one we had last year, but I mean, personally, I didn't get that one. So this was pretty cool for me personally, because it's just, has to be the best, Palpatine that I think we have ever had. This is just really, really awesome. And if we go ahead and remove the hood, you can see that the head is completely new. I mean, when I say completely new, like I said, it keeps the same general concept as the last one while giving us new facial expressions, which is really awesome. As you can see, the minifigure, the minifigure's eyes, they all look great. Everything about this face perfectly captures Darth Sidious. And if we go ahead and turn it around, you can see the more toned down, more sinister looking face that he has when he's, tempting Luke and all of that stuff. So that looks great, and so does the torso and the printing on the legs. This is really a definitive Palpatine minifigure. I think this might be as good as it can get, honestly. This entire minifigure just looks great. I have zero complaints. I think Darth Sidious here has finally reached his potential as a minifigure, and it's been nice that I've finally been able to say that, given, like I said, I missed out on the Star Destroyer last year, along with the minifigure that this set appeared in. I believe the last Palpatine actually appeared in a book, though, if I'm not mistaken, not the Star Destroyer. The Star Destroyer was just a hologram, but great minifigure. Oh, and I really should have mentioned, actually, before we move on with the Royal Guard here, that Darth Sidious does actually have a red lightsaber. There is an extra one included if you do want to give him that and get him in on the lightsaber action. That's totally up to you, but there is an extra lightsaber included with this set for Sidious if you want. It's not actually meant for Sidious, but you can do that. It's an option. But anyway, the Royal Guard is exactly the same as we had him in the Death Star Troopers set. I don't believe there's any difference. It's just the exact same Royal Guard, and pretty much the same Royal Guard that we've had for years, just, with the dark red arms now, the dark red cape, and, the same staff that he's had. This is the exact same one that we had in the Death Star Troopers, comprised of these two pieces. And you do get two of these, of course, included with this set, which is pretty sweet. There is nothing on the head to be concerned about, to look at. So it's a great minifigure. The Royal Guards have always been awesome, and it's great to have two of them in this set. So there you go. That's pretty much it for all the minifigures included with the Death Star Final Duel. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the actual build itself. So obviously the Death Star Final Duel really is just one big playset, one big recreation of the final fight between Luke and Vader, and it's portrayed really well with a lot of different elements from the fight pulled in, used as playability features in this set, and it's really, really awesome how much LEGO Group was able to incorporate into it. And you can see that this is actually it folded up, and it's in the position where I guess it's more mobile if you want to move the set around, as whereas you could open up these two main sections by use of a couple of hinges and clip pieces, and then you have it folded out and fully accessible, and then that's when you can also pull out the bridge, and that can retract, and you get the idea of how this thing pretty much folds out. And you cannot actually, like, once you have these two main sections folded in, you can't pull the bridge out anymore, and you can't actually get it fully closed up unless you push the bridge in. So you have to have the bridge in pushed in first for this to actually work, and so it really makes for a great locking mechanism for the entire set in general. So that's one of the playability features, the main one anyway. And so just to, I guess, to start off with all these playability features, you can see we've got our two royal guards positioned at the main door, which is just obviously basic design. I think we've all seen this before, and I'd say this is the main section of the set that actually kind of reminds me of Palpatine's Arrest, which had a similar door like this, and I guess sort of a smaller bridge, but something in concept, like this section forward was kind of similar from that set back in 2012. And so right here we do have this tile, which actually makes for just like a general minifig launcher. I don't know why LEGO wouldn't have just given us super jumpers. I guess those are for superhero sets only, it seems. But you can see you can just put a minifigure on there and then just launch him. It's very simple. I just friggin' sent Luke to Kingdom Come. Let's get him and pick him up off the floor. But you can see we do also have collapsible stairs right here, and so that's pretty awesome by just pushing down on these Technic pieces that you see right there. And to grab that without hopefully bumping the camera, we're going to go ahead and just put these back on. You can see they're only held in by a couple of studs each, which is why that playability feature is very effective and honestly really, really cool. And then you obviously have, I don't know how many times I'm saying obviously in this review, so I apologize, but we've got the Emperor up here on his throne, and the throne is a very simple design, but it does actually have a couple of stickers. If we go ahead and remove Palpatine, you can see those there for his control panels on his throne there, and obviously this does actually rotate full a full 360, and so you can just see him right there, and that works out just fine. You also do have, obviously, I swear, obviously is like my favorite word in reviews. I don't know why it keeps happening, but we have a lot of 1x1 trans blue cheese slopes positioned on a bunch of 1x1 black clips around these 4x4 black modified pieces here, and so it makes for a really time-consuming but really awesome element to the set, and it's definitely the most time-consuming portion of building this thing. But it does look really nice and very accurate to the actual the set pieces that were used in the film. So then we also have this feature over here, and it's actually very it's pretty flimsy and can be annoying at times, because just a little push and the entire bridge here comes falling down. It just collapses because it's only held in by this little it's just you just basically take this little like transparent red piece, and it just kind of is held there barely by anything. So I mean, it's nice. It can be annoying at times, but I mean, like I said, for playability, it definitely works out really great. If I can actually get Luke to stand on the bridge for 2 seconds, that would be great. Okay, there he goes. And so it works out, and so that's really nice. That's another playability feature. And then if we go back over here, we've got the main, I would say, one of the cooler parts of the set. We've obviously got all these handlebars here held in by droid arms, but then we also have down here, and you can see we have the shaft that Vader throws Palpatine into at the very end of the film there, and you can see inside we actually have a lot of stickers, which is pretty cool. And you actually, to make up that interior, all those stickers, that was about 8 stickers for all the pieces in there, so about 2 for each of these these like round smooth pieces here, these round smooth walls. So that's pretty awesome. We also have these like printed pieces for the windows. These are all printed and really nice to have on the back of each of these sections. And then back here, you might notice we do have the lightsaber that that Luke, I can't form my words, man. It's my first review since the Avengers Age of Ultron sets, but the lightsaber flies out by use of this playability feature right back here, and basically all you got to do for that is just push down, and then the lightsaber comes flying out, and so you have Vader's lightsaber, and it's pretty awesome. And so just to give you a better look at that, just so you have a really good angle, like I said, you just push down on this little plate here, and then the lightsaber comes flying out, and that's how that works. So that's pretty much all of the playability features. I really hope I'm not missing any. Obviously, if you want, you can throw Palpatine down into the shaft, and so that works out. And yeah, other than that, though, that's pretty much it for the final duel. And just so you know, in case you were wondering, when you do take Palpatine and throw him down into the shaft, it is completely hollow on the bottom, so you just pick up the set and he comes right out. It's totally effective in that way. So that's really awesome. You do have a couple of control panels behind the Emperor's throne, which is super awesome and really accurate. You also, I mean, you can recreate a lot of different scenes even without use of the playability features. Say you can have Luke and Vader up here on top battling it out. There's not really a lot of space to do so for the both of them, but you can kind of see it right there. And then you can also take Luke and position him back here, kind of like in that sequence when he was hiding from Vader and Vader was tempting him to come and fight him. And you guys remember the entire sequence. I'm not going to re-explain it to you, but for the most part, though, that's pretty much it for the final duel here. It has a lot to offer in terms of playability. It has, and by use of all these playability features, it recreates the scene perfectly. So honestly, in general, and given the fact that it's a really mobile set because you can close it up, I would say this is a really definitive playset representation of the final duel. Obviously, significantly different to what we had when LEGO Star Wars first started way back when. So I mean, this set for 80 bucks though, I'm not totally sure on the price point, because 80 bucks for this seems a little steep. If that was dropped down to maybe 70, it would have been a little bit more realistic, but I mean, I'm sure a lot of different things factor into that price point, so I really can't complain too much. This set is a definitive representation of the final duel, and that is what it portrays here in a great way. So I think this set is definitely awesome, and like I said, the price point's a little steep, but it really gives you a lot for your dollar in terms of the recreation of the final fight. So I'm not going to repeat myself again. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the box, instruction manual, extra pieces, and we'll wrap up this review. The box of Death Star Final Duel is pretty much what you'd expect. You have a really nice design, you know, nice graphic of the set on the front of the box there. You've also got a little graphic displaying the new Darth Vader helmet off to the left of the box. Got all the minifigures down here in the corner, and then on the top as well, Darth Vader sporting the actual size reference. And then on the back, we have all the playability features that I just went over, along with 3 recreational renders of the fight scene in Return of the Jedi, and another render of all the minifigures included with this set to make for a pretty effective box. So the instruction manual for the Death Star Final Duel actually has comes out to be a 104-page build. If I can just flip right there, you can see that number. And then we've also got advertisements for the Star Wars Rebels sets and Lego.com/Star Wars at the start of the instruction manual, which is a new thing for me because, I mean, I did miss out on a lot of the winter sets. So, I mean, like I said, this is a new thing for me. Maybe it's not a new thing in general, but yeah, that's kind of different. And we've also got a couple of advertisements for the summer sets, all 6 of them pictured on the left side there, with another advertisement for Lego.com/Star Wars, along with a ton of renders of all the minifigures included with the 6 sets for this summer lineup, man. So that's about it, though. There you go. Instruction manual. Death Star Final Duel. It's a thing. I was actually a little surprised by the extra pieces for the Death Star Final Duel. We not only get an extra flex tube, a couple of lightsaber hilts, the handcuffs, and, you know, the basic rundown of studs, cheese slopes, extra pieces, and tiles here, but we've also got an extra bottom half of Darth Vader's helmet, and that's really awesome. I was not expecting to get an extra one of these, but I'm definitely glad we did. I think that's pretty sweet. So maybe whenever Darth Vader shows up in, you know, in sets with this new helmet, we'll be getting extra ones of these. So I guess that's kind of cool, man. But aside from that, though, that's pretty much it for everything the Death Star Final Duel has to offer, and we can finally go ahead and wrap up my first review on the new summer sets. What are you looking at?
What?
You're like always looking at something on the ceiling. I don't see anything.
I'm not looking at anything.
Then why are you looking up?
I'm not looking up. It's the design of my helmet.
Yes, you are. You have to physically exert force in your neck to be doing... Alright guys, and there you go, my first LEGO Star Wars Summer 2015 set review, and thank you for sticking around all the way through that. And if you enjoyed the review, or maybe found it informative, be sure to let me know by dropping it a like below, and or your opinion down in the comments, as either of which, like I always say, are very much appreciated. And yeah, so you can also follow me on the Twitters, the book faces, and the Instagrams, man. Links to all 3 of those are down in the description below, and there I've been posting all kinds of preview photos and a lot of different action shots of the minifigures that I'm working on, or some of which that I have finished for the Avengers Age of Ultron. But right now, I just finished up Daredevil. I'm working on finishing up my Force Awakens Stormtrooper, and I'm also working on War Machine, a ton of other minifigures, Ahsoka from Star Wars Rebels, the Atom, and I'm also going to be starting on Ant-Man figures pretty soon for the showcase I'll be doing on July 16th. I'm doing a lot, guys. I always am. It's just I can't always get videos out as frequently as I would like to, and I know May has been a little bit of a slow month for me, so I apologize for that, but I'm going to be doing the Imperial Shuttle Tidarium review as soon as possible, along with the showcase on Daredevil, who is once again now finished, and you'll be seeing him over on those other platforms much sooner, because it's a lot easier to post a photo than it is to fully record and edit an entire video. Like I always say, I feel like a broken record. But there you go. Death Star Final Duel. Pretty good set. Great play set. It's just, I mean, you guys already heard everything. I don't think I need to recite it, so I think I'm going to end this first review here, and I'll catch you guys later. All right. Bye. Star Wars Summer 2015 reviews with the, what the hell is this set even called? Is it the Final Duel? Is it the Death Star Final Duel? Yeah, it's Death Star Final Duel, gosh damn. And you can actually fold these down, if I'm not mistaken, so that the door, I suppose, like doesn't come wide. What am I doing? The box of the Death Star Final Duel is pretty much... Please focus next time.
Let me look on you with my own.
Father. The number for this one is 750... Shit. Front of the box, motherfucker.